before I show you the system, let me tell you why I approach government contracting a little differently than most other people. So before becoming a business owner, I worked inside a federal agency as a contract administrator. So I had the opportunity to basically um, understand government contracting from both sides of the table, as you may say, right? I've seen what happens after a solicitation goes out. I've seen how requirements are interpreted. I've also seen how proposals are reviewed, right? I've seen how one of the biggest things I've learned also with this is that a good company does not automatically equal a winning proposal. Okay. You can be completely capable of performing the work and still lose because you didn't understand what the agency was evaluating. Okay. And also, you can have great experience and still lose to the incumbent because they were positioned long before the solicitation ever hit the street. And you can also have great experience but lose because your proposal didn't clearly communicate what your capabilities were. So that experience changed the way I approach government contracting. So today I combine that government side experience with real world business experience, helping companies pursue highly competitive state, local, federal agency opportunities. Okay. So, what I'm sharing with you today isn't just theory, it comes from understanding how the government buys and what businesses need to do to compete. Okay. Got it? All right. Let's move on. Let me just check the chat, make sure I don't have anything going on in the chat. Okay. Awesome. We are good. Okay, so let's talk about the four things you will walk away today. So I don't want you to leave this webinar with 20 pages of notes and still wonder, okay, but what did I actually, what do I need to do next? I'm still confused. I want you to make this very practical. So there are four things I want you to walk away with today. Number one, how to determine whether your business is actually ready to pursue government contracts. Number two, the 6-stage system I use in my business to think about the entire government contracting process from finding opportunities all the way through managing the contract after you win, because what we are winners. All right. Number three, how to make smarter bid or no bid decisions so you're not wasting time chasing every opportunity you find. And number four, I'm going to help you understand the differences between doing this yourself, using tools and training, and bringing in fractional government contracting leadership, because not every business needs the same level of support, right? My goal is for you to leave knowing this is where I am, this is what I need, and this is my next move. All right, let's continue. All right, so let's talk about where are you in your government contracting journey. So what I want you to do, um, but first, let me know. I want to know who's in the room with me. All right. So drop a letter in the chat for me. So drop an A in the chat if you're brand new, you haven't submitted your first government bid yet. Drop a B in the chat if you are actively looking or bidding, but you're still struggling to win. Drop a C in the chat if you have had some success, but you don't have a consistent or repeatable system. Or D, your business is growing, which is great. You're serious about government contracting and you need more strategic leadership to scale it. So drop a A, B, C, or D in the chat and let me take a look at it and see who's in the room. Okay, I see a few A's. I see some B's. We got some experienced people here too. Awesome, perfect, great. Awesome. Great. All right. Because what I'm showing you today applies at all different levels. If you're an A, you're going to see what you need to build. If you're a B or C, you're probably going to identify exactly where the gaps are. And if you're a D, you're going to see how to take government contracting off of your plate and turn it into an action and an actual business function. Okay? Got it? All right, let's continue. Yes, you guys are dropping. Okay, I have some more B's. Amazing. This is amazing. All right, let's continue. All right, so a repeatable system for winning contracts. So here's the big idea I want you to remember. Government contracting is not a lottery and it should not be, even though I plan on winning the lottery next week, all right? It should be it should not be a let me search sam.gov today. Oh, here's something. It's due in 10 days. Everybody has to stop what they're doing. We have to write a proposal. That's not a government contracting strategy. That's an emergency response. A real government contracting strategy is a pipeline. You know who your target audiences are. You know what they buy or what type of service they need. You understand what's coming. You track your opportunities before they're due. You build relationships. You decide strategically which opportunities deserve your resources. And then you submit strong, compliant proposals. Compliant, remember? All right. That's when government contracting becomes repeatable. And that is what we're going to build around today. All right, let me check the chat again. All right, good. Okay. So now let's talk about why do most small businesses struggle with government contracting? So why do so many capable businesses they usually tend to get frustrated with government contracting? And usually I see four things happening here. Okay. The first thing is reactive bidding. The business doesn't have a pipeline. They're searching for opportunities today that are due next week. Now they're trying to understand 100 pages of this RFP, gather documents, price the work, write the response, get references, and run their actual business at the same time. And then the second thing I noticed is that they have no go, no go process. Everything looks like an opportunity. And let me tell you this, every opportunity is not your opportunity. Let me say that again. Every opportunity is not your opportunity. And then the third thing I see is proposal burnout. So your CEO is involved, operations is involved, finance is involved, your administrative team is involved. Suddenly you've spent dozens or even hundreds of hours pursuing something you probably shouldn't have pursued in the beginning, right? And then the fourth thing I usually see is they're focused on bids instead of capture. This is one of the biggest shifts I want you to understand today. Winning does not begin when the RFP comes out. In many cases, your strategy should start months before that. This is the difference between chasing contracts and building a government contracting business. Okay? Got it. Okay, I see a chat, something in the chat. Okay. Awesome. Everybody just dropping your. Okay, let's go through a case study. So, this is an actual company that I worked with and I changed the name for the sake of this webinar. But let's take a deep dive into this case study before they had a system, right? So, this is Apex Facilities. All right, so this was a capable facilities services company generating approximately $3 million a year in revenue. They had the ability to perform. That wasn't the problem. The problem was their strategy. In 1 year, they submitted about 14 proposals. Think about that. 14 proposals. That's management time, staff time, pricing, writing, reviewing, documentation. Approximately about $60,000 worth of internal staff effort. And after all of that work, guess what? They got 0 wins. That is very frustrating. I know it would frustrate me, okay? But here's what's important. The answer wasn't to write more proposals. The answer was to stop. Take a beat. Let's look at who you're targeting. Let's build your pipeline. Let's understand the agencies. Let's determine what you actually have a competitive advantage in. Let's stop measuring government contracting activity by the number of proposals that you submit, because the goal is not to submit more, the goal is to win more. I don't know about you, but I like to win. All right? Okay. All right. Let's move on. Nothing in the chat. Okay, cool. All right, so, and this brings us to the system. All right, so I want you to take a picture of this slide. If not, I will email a copy of all the slides, but take a picture if you need to, because this is the framework I want you thinking about after today's webinar. There are 6 stages. So stage 1 is research. What agencies actually buy or need what you can offer or sell? Not every agency, your agencies. Where does your capability fit? Okay, and then stage 2, track. I want you to build a rolling pipeline. What is coming in the next 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, 12 months? You should not be surprised every time an RFP comes out. The stage 3, capture. This is the stage businesses often skip. Capture is what happens before the proposal. So if you understand the agency, you're understanding the problem, you're understanding the incumbent, right? You're building relationships, developing your win themes, right? Stage 4, now we're going to move on to decide. Bid or no bid. And we're going to talk more about this because sometimes one of the smartest government contracting decisions you can make is, guess what? We're not bidding, right? That's one of the smartest decisions. Stage 5 is propose. Now, we build the response compliant, responsive, persuasive, and it's easy for the evaluator to score. Stage 6 is to manage, because winning the contract isn't the finish line. Now we have to perform. Yeah, you have to document, you have to manage the compliance, and you have to turn that performance into past performance that will help you win again. That's the full cycle, right? Research, track, capture, decide, propose, and manage. That's a government contracting operating system. Let me check the chat, y'all. Okay, cool. Awesome. Let's continue. Hang on, I see. Let me go back. I see. Okay, got it. All right, so now let's go to the decision. Most businesses skip. As I mentioned, the most important is a go, no go. All right. So this is one of my favorite stages because this can save your business a tremendous amount of time and money, right? When an opportunity looks exciting, if you're like me, they all look exciting. I'm like, yes, let's do it. So, but we naturally start thinking, I know we can do it. It's a great opportunity, but that's not the only question. We also need to make sure that we're asking ourselves, should we pursue this? I look at things like this now that I understand it, right? Capability fit. Can we clearly perform the scope? Relationship and positioning. Do we understand the buyer, the agency, the incumbent? What about capture, right? Contract value fit. This is very important. Does this opportunity make sense financially for our company? Are we going to lose money? We don't want, we're not in that business to lose money, okay? Staffing and capacity. So let's say if they award this contract tomorrow, can you actually execute it? That's the difference between an emotional bid decision and a strategic one. And I want you to remember this. A no-go is not a loss. Sometimes a no-go is one of the best decisions your business can make because it protects your resources from something you have a much stronger chance of winning, right? So if you're just throwing everything out, spending money, now when when there's something that comes across, your desk that your business can actually bid on and win, you don't have the capacity to even submit a proposal. So that's why the go no go strategy is so important in your business. Let's move on. I don't know how to keep the chat open. All right, so now let's talk about where fractional executive leadership fits. Um, Here's another business, like where businesses challenged. Some of them have challenges, right? They understand the system, but somebody still has to run it. Okay. And usually you know who ends up doing it, the CEO, okay, or your vice president, right? The owner is searching opportunities at late at night. The operations director is helping with proposals. Somebody is marketing, trying to figure out sam.gov and all of these other platforms. Finance is working on pricing, or the CEO. And everybody has a full-time job. There's always something that we have to do. You can absolutely build a government contracting company internally, but at a certain point, you need someone who can look across your entire strategy and say, here's what we're targeting, here's what's coming, here's where we're positioned, here's what we're not pursuing, here's what we're bidding, and here's what needs to happen next. That's where fractional government contracting leadership fits, okay? You get senior level strategy and accountability without immediately having to add another six-figure executive salary to your payroll. It's not simply, let me write a proposal for you. That is not what I do, okay? It's, let me help you build a government contracting side of your business. That's a very different relationship. Okay, it's a very different and it's a very important relationship. So that is what fractional executive leadership looks like. Okay, so now let's head back over to our case study, Apex. Right. So after I worked with Apex Facilities, all right, the okay, fictitious name, but a real company. Okay, remember they submitted 14 proposals, and they didn't win any. So and they spent a lot of internal time, which converts to a lot of money, right? With zero wins. So once the strategy changed, something interesting happened. They actually bid less. I know it sounds weird. They bid less, right? Instead of 14 random proposals, the focus shifted to four highly targeted opportunities. Those opportunities went through the decision process. The positioning was stronger. The proposals were more strategic, and within 9 months, the company secured a multi-million dollar airport services contract valued at, are you guys ready? $1.8 million. So this replaced a long, and they replaced a long-standing incumbent. Um, I want you to notice the lesson here. They did not win because they became busier. They won because they became more focused, right? That is what I want for you. Not more government contracting chaos, better government contracting decisions. Okay? All right, let me check the chat, make sure. Make sure nobody has any questions. Yeah, I see there's some people have joined. Okay, I can see. Okay, let's move on. All right. At this point, you're probably thinking, okay, Christina, I understand the strategy. Now, how do I implement this, right? I know you're probably wondering. And this is exactly why I created different levels of support, right? Because somebody who has never submitted a bid does not need the same thing as a company pursuing a multi-million dollar contract. So there's different paths that I have to offer, okay? So path one would be I have something called the GovCon Vault, right? If you're newer to government contracting and you want to learn the process yourself, this is where you should start, right? The Vault gives you training, readiness resources, templates, go, no go tools, and step by step guidance. You can walk through it at your own pace and start building your foundation. And then path number 2, the H2 GovCon Command Center, which I love. Now, this is for the person who is thinking, Christina, I understand government contracting, but I need technology helping me do it faster and better. The Command Center is our AI powered operating system built specifically around government contracting workflow. And we're going to look at that more closely in a few minutes. I'm so excited about it. And then path number 3, I love this as well, the H2 fractional solutions. This is for the business that wants strategic leadership. You don't just want another course, right? You don't want to figure everything out alone. You want someone helping your team evaluate opportunities, build your pipeline, develop capture strategies, make good bid decisions, and move proposals forward. Three different three different solutions, 3 different stages. And you don't have to buy something your business doesn't need. We don't need all that extra stuff that's going to just sit in our email. We don't need that, okay? All right. So now the the fun part, let me just check chat. I can't see the chat anymore. Okay. Okay, so now before you bid though, there's a question I want every business to answer. Are we actually ready? And I don't mean do we have a capability statement. I know no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about are your registrations in order? Is your compliance foundation in place? Can you communicate your past performance? Do you understand your gaps? Do you know what you should fix before you start spending money pursuing contracts? This is exactly why I created H2 GovCon Ready. Okay, you can go and I'm going to show you a demo. It's H2 GovCon Command Center. And I'm going to show you the demo in a few minutes. Okay, I love this tool because it gives people a starting point. Instead of I want government contracts, what do I do? Now we can say here's where you are. Here are the gaps. Here's what we work on first. That's much more actionable. We have something to put in action. Okay. All right. Okay, now tools, other tools. So let's kind of dive into the tools that I mentioned. And this is where I want to make government contracting a little more fun because I don't want, you just to, just to tell you what you should do. I want to give you the tools that actually help you do it. So we created several interactive tools around some of the biggest decisions businesses have to make. So tool number 1 is the GovCon Readiness Diagnostic Tool. So this is where we identify the gaps in your business today. Tool number 2, the bid, no bid decision. Okay, let me see. The bid, no bid decision matrix. So you should actually spend your resources pursuing. So this answers the question, should you actually spend your resources pursuing this opportunity? And then tool number 3, let me move myself up. Tool number 3 is the target billing rate. Tool number 3 is the target billing rate and margin estimator. Are you pricing the work in a way that makes sense for your business? Because winning an unprofitable contract is not winning. If you're not making money, you're losing money. That's not a win. All right? We don't want that. Okay? And then tool number 4 is a capture win theme generator. How do you communicate why your solution matters to that specific agency? And this is what I'm excited about. Okay, instead of staring at a blank spreadsheet or trying to create everything from scratch, you can have a system helping you think through the decision. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let me show you this, what I'm talking about. So I need to switch the screen. Let me stop sharing for a moment, and then I'm gonna hop over to the GovCon Command Center. Okay, so this is the GovCon Command Center landing page. So this is an all-in-one operating system for government contractors. So this is basically your entire business in one platform. No more multiple spreadsheets, no more sticky notes, no more Google Drives, no more of that. Everything is here for you, okay? So I will just give you a quick overview. So basically, this is how the tool works. We have a solicitation analyzer. So you would enter in, you would upload a solicitation into the system, and it will analyze it. It will pull out all of the required documents, deadlines. Let me just sign in and show you guys. Okay, let me just sign in. All right. So you have your dashboard. You have your own custom, and you can customize your dashboard. And on your dashboard, you can see your entire pipeline, anything that needs your attention, your opportunity sources, any upcoming deadlines. Because if you were like me in the beginning, I was missing a lot of deadlines, even though they were on my calendar. For some reason, I was missing deadlines. So this tool, all of these upcoming deadlines, they're also visible on your calendar. So there's a calendar feature also added here. And then all of your active opportunities. This is where all of your RFPs that you're working on are stored. And I think right now this is a demo page, we have 21. So if you're able to handle 21 opportunities at one time, congrats, because I cannot. All right, but you can see all of them, the agency, the stages that you're in, the value, how many days left, and the fit score. Okay, so we analyze every RFP to make sure that it's a good fit for your company. So as you can see, some of them have no bid, a bid, or consider. So this tool does a lot, okay? And also it can develop your proposals because it extracts all of the information that you enter for your business, right? And it creates your proposal documents from the cover letters, executive summary, technical approach, management approach, staffing plan, project management plan. All of that is created, okay? And there's so much more. Invoicing. Okay, what happens after you win? We're going to track all of that, your past performances. We have another feature that I just have to show you guys. This is let me just show y'all. It's so amazing. I must say so myself. We have, okay, can you guys still see? Can you guys, okay, yep, you guys can see. We have the GovCon vault is here, right? So, and I have lessons. I've included lessons. So let's say if you are, if not new, but you are bringing on a new employee that is not that familiar with government contracting, there's a training portal that I've added, right? So basically, when they start, they can go through how does government contracting works, right? What are registrations that you need before you bid? So I have all of these trainings from foundational, intermediate, advanced training, how to determine if you are bidding or not bidding. Also, I have a dictionary. So I know there are a lot of acronyms that we use in this industry. Even I forget, some of them. So I added a dictionary. So for example, if you're looking at a federal opportunity and they mention the acronym FAR, you're like, I forgot what FAR means. You can go to your dictionary and I have it listed here. I think I included almost all of the acronyms. And I also have a tool. If you need to look up your NAICS code, you can look up your NAICS code. Okay, but if you want a full demo of this product, reach out to me, and I can schedule a live demo. Thank you. Brittany says, I love it. This makes me feel organized with contracts. I noticed it's so much information. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Brittany, for saying that. I'm glad this helps. Okay. Let me stop sharing and get back to the presentation. Let me just close the vault. Okay. Let me share my screen again. All right. Share. Okay. Let me see. I don't know if you guys can see. Nope, this is not the one we need to share. Hang on. Not this one. Okay. I got it. Okay. We are back in business. All right. So those are some of the tools. Okay. All right. Now, I want to talk about proven track records. So I also want you to understand that everything that I'm showing you today comes from real government contracting environments. Our work and experience have touched highly competitive public sector environments, including multiple airports, local and state agencies. And if you've ever worked with an airport or large public agency, you know these are not simple procurements. They're heavy on compliance, right? Operations requirements, staffing requirements, reporting, quality assurance, safety, performance metrics, and sometimes hundreds of pages of solicitations requirements. So when I talk about systems, I'm not talking about creating a prettier proposal. No. I'm talking about building a business that can find the opportunity, pursue the opportunity, win the opportunity, and then perform the contract, because all four of these matter, okay? All right, just wanted to make sure I have to just show receipts, okay? So you guys know I'm not just throwing something up on the screen. All right, okay. Can you guys see the? Let me see what you guys are seeing. This is kind of small. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Oh wait, is it big enough? Let me do this. Let me change the layout. Okay. Now let's move on. All right, so now let's make this simple. If you're watching if you're watching this thinking, okay, I need help figuring out my next step. Here's the process. Step one, talk to me. You can book a complimentary 30-minute strategy session, and we're going to talk about your company, your government contracting goals, where you are today, and what's getting in the way. And then step two, diagnose, right? We'll look at readiness, what is already in place, what what needs work, what gaps could stop you from winning, and then step three, build your system. Depending on your needs, that may include the GovCon Command Center, pipeline tracking, opportunity management, AI tools, and a structured capture process. Step four, evaluate. So this is where strategy becomes action. Together, we're going to look at actual opportunities. We're going to make go, no go decisions. We're creating capture plans. We're developing proposals. We're building the government contracting operation for you. This goal is not to leave you with another binder. This goal is to help you move. Because I don't need another binder, unfortunately, okay? All right, so that is not what this is for. Okay, questions that you are probably asking, right? All right, let me answer a few questions that I hear all the time. Do I need federal experience first? The answer is no. I think one of the biggest mistakes businesses make is assuming government contracting only means federal contracting. There are cities, counties, states, airports, housing authorities, transportation agencies, schools, public utility companies, and many other government buyers. There may be opportunities much closer to your business than you realize. Can I be transparent? I do not. My company doesn't bid on federal contracts. All of my contracts have been state and local. And I have always said this from day one, right? But your preference is your preference. But I want you to understand that there is just more to government contracting than federal, okay? Then the next question I get is, what if I've never won a contract before? Then we look at the experience you already have: commercial work, your corporate job, right? Relevant projects, your team's experience. If you know someone that has some experience that you don't have, your past performance, operational capacity. We start building the story around why the government should trust you to perform. And then the last questions, one of the last questions I get: do I need to hire someone full time? Not necessarily, okay? Um, that's not the question. Do I need to have, hold on, I can't see this. Do I need to hire someone full time? Um, Not necessarily. That's the entire concept behind fractional support, right? You can bring in the level of leadership you need based on your actual pipeline rather than immediately committing to permanent executive overhead. So, no, you do not need to hire somebody full time, okay? Okay, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. So let's talk about we already took a look at the H2 command center, but I kind of want to just reiterate some things. Everything is I I mentioned that after years of working in this space, I kept seeing businesses struggle with the same thing. Everything was everywhere: one website for opportunities, a spreadsheet for tracking, and another document for compliance. They had Chat GPT now is open in the window. Proposal files are saved everywhere, right? And so that's why I created GovCon Command Center. Think of this as one place designed around government contracting. It manages your opportunities, it tracks your pipeline, it reviews solicitation, it's working through your proposal requirements. Let me say that again. It works through and pulls out the proposal requirements. Why is this important? Because if there's a requirement in an RFP and you do not fulfill it, what happens? You lose or you become disqualified. They don't even go any further. They don't review your pretty proposal. So that is important. So using AI to accelerate some of the time consuming parts of the process is actually what helps this tool do what it does, and it does it greatly, okay? It builds a compliance matrix. It stores your past performance, as I showed you. Um, and keeping the process it keeps your processes organized. Now here's what I want to make very clear: AI should not replace your strategy, okay? I struggled with using AI for years, right? I still review my proposals, right? But this tool basically takes a lot of time off of my hands because it extracts everything. But if you're someone like me that likes to double check, okay, do not only rely on AI. Okay, I want you guys to learn how to read your RFPs and write your own proposal. So when you see something that AI spits out and you're like, this isn't right. So you will have an understanding of what you're receiving from AI because you already know what a proposal should look like, right? So this should make your strategy faster. Technology handles more of the heavy lifting for you so you can spend more time making decisions that actually require human judgment. So we already went through the demo. If like and like I mentioned, if you want me to go more in depth into the demo, contact me and we can I can set up some time. All right, so we are Almost done. We're almost done. So let's build, let's win. So as we wrap up, I want you guys to remember something. Government contracting can absolutely create new revenue opportunities for your business, but you do not need to chase everything. You do not need to chase everything. Okay? Got that? You do not need to know everything today. You don't. I don't know everything, and I've been doing this for years, okay? And you do not need to build an entire government contracting department overnight. Please don't, okay? You need to understand where you are and choose the right next step. If you're new and want to learn the process yourself, like I said, start with the GovCon Vault, and I can send you guys the link to that. If you're ready to put technology behind your government contracting strategy, then take a look at the H2 GovCon Command Center. And if you're an established business and you're saying, Christina, I don't want you know, another course, please. I just need somebody to help me execute. Then let's talk about H2 Fractional Solutions. So you can visit my website h2fractionalsolutions.com and schedule a complimentary strategy conversation with me. But before everybody leaves, I want you to put one thing in the chat based on what you heard today. What is one area of government contracting you know your business needs to improve? And this could be, am I ready? Finding opportunities, proposal writing, compliance, technology, or simply knowing where to start. Drop it in the chat and let's talk about it if you guys want to. If not, I want to thank you guys for coming, and I look forward to helping you build your system, pursue smarter, and win strategically. Let me head over to the chat. Let's see what we have. Purposely writing and where to start. Awesome. Yes. Proposal writing. Okay. Proposal writing and where to start. Anyone else? I see a bunch of people in here, but I cannot see. Okay, I see compliance. I'm so glad you mentioned that. That is very important. Compliance. Mm-hmm. Technology. Oh, okay. All of this, listen, all of your responses make sense, right? Because there is a lot that goes on in this business, right? And if you're stuck somewhere, there are people like me that can get you unstuck, all right? So I will email out this these slides to you guys. I can see attendees, but it will send me your email addresses. I can't see your names. But thank you guys for joining. And if you have any questions, give me a call. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.